So the GC8 is coming to a close. Well, not really. There will still be a couple more videos, but paint-wise, we are wrapping it up. At the end of the last video, I kind of gave you a taste of what was to come by showing you those couple of pieces. In this video, all of the pieces are going to be painted, including the car, and that's what I always look forward to.
And now, you're watching the Around Here We Put It All on the Line equivalent to letting one rip after Taco Bell channel of YouTube. Welcome to Bodie Vision.
Hey, so what's happening? What's up? What's going on today? Like I said, we're going to complete everything. Now the front and back bumper, I'm just gonna kind of get into that, show you what's going on. I'm not gonna break it down too extensively. When we get to the car, I'll kind of break it down a little bit more. So let's just get that knocked out of the way. And so we are just knocking things out one piece at a time. Well, not really one piece at a time. I did all of the miscellaneous pieces and then I did the bumper, and man, that thing looks solid. Front bumper, back bumper done. Normally I do the entire car and then I do all of the other pieces, but just with how everything worked this time around, I ended up kind of doing it backwards. And that's what I enjoy the most about what I do. Every single thing that I do, I can kind of just do what I want when it comes down to it. As long as it gets done, it's all good, right? So what I got to move on to now, we got to get the car ready to go. Any area that's kind of rough that needs a little bit more attention, I'm going to sand it out with a 400 grit sandpaper on a block, and then after everything is smoothed out, I'm going to go over it with a 600 on the DA with the soft pad in between it. But before we do that, we got to go ahead and hit him with a 2x4 double flip. Alrighty, so now the entire car is sanded down. Now my mindset while I'm doing this is I'm looking over every single square inch. If I see a dent or if I see anything, the time to take a step back is now. If it's only going to take an hour or two to address something for you to have to not look at a mistake or something in the near future, that is definitely worth it. So spend a couple extra hours now to save yourself a little bit in the future, and that's definitely the way to go. Alright, so the time is now. Now let me just give you a couple little tips if you ever plan on painting a car, or maybe if you do paint cars. These are just a couple things that I think about. So when it comes to wiping down the car, I always wipe it down a handful of times, but I always like to start where I finished the last time, because as you start, you get the whole entire thing, the whole entire panel really clean, and then you move on to the next one. And just naturally, by the time you're all the way around the car, I feel like I might get a little bit lazy because I'm just trying to go on to the next step. So the next time I wipe down the car, if I start in that last panel or that lazy panel and I do that real detailed, and then by the time I come around to the other panel that I started at the first time, if I'm accidentally getting a little bit lazy, it doesn't matter. All of the panels are going to be good. That's just one thing that I do to keep in my mind to get it going. And also another thing, if you can see right here, right on that line right there. I have that because I have to use a stool because I'm a little bit height restricted, and I always want to put my stool in the same spot every time. It's just one less thing to think about, because the worst thing is put the stool down, start painting, then realize you can't reach all the way to the edge of the roof. So I just have that on both sides. I just want to get small details like that knocked out of the way, so that way I can give the car my full attention as I'm painting it and not worry about miscellaneous things like where to put the stool down at. So now I guess it's time to get started. The first thing is that white sealer, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail of what's going on after that. I'll tell you what, dude, it's a lot of work to spray out a car between the sealer, base coat, clear coat, multiple coats of each coat. I'm always beat, but I always like to stand back and just look at it, man. It looks solid. I mean, I could not complain about it whatsoever. Everything looks good. Now, one thing that happened as I was painting over here on this fender, some of the base coat and sealer kind of whipped back up around because I was using this cheap stuff under here, some eBay stuff, and then the big roll is really good for the paint sticking on. You see the cheap stuff, the sealer and the base coat will actually flake off, and that's why you got to change it after the primers, because you don't want any of that primer to come up and get back in your paint. But it's all good. So what I had to do to address that, I just looked at it, I tried to get it off as best as I can. Let me see if I can show you where the imperfection is. It's right, let me see, it's right down, it's right in there. And it's, I'm gonna have to make a call after the fact. So what I thought was I didn't want to slow down and stop the progress of the entire car. If anything, I can take off the fender, blend that in a little bit later. I just wanted to keep it moving. And I'm not gonna let that bring me down whatsoever, dude. The car looks so good. I'll tell you what, if you think this car looks good, I want this video to get more likes than any of my other videos thus far. I don't ask for likes except at the end when I just say like this video, comment, subscribe. But this time, I'm asking you guys, if you think this looks good, show me some appreciation by liking this video. And let's see if we can get this video way up there in the like space. Like space? What does that mean? I don't know. Man, so after painting all these cars, one thing that's definitely my least favorite thing to do is to pull all the masking off, especially when there's a close edge of tape right on where it's meeting paint, and pulling that off is just a little bit intimidating, but overall, it looks good. Car's looking solid. Also, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys saw that dent right down there. That is 100% underneath the side skirts. These side skirts probably had been replaced at one point because you can't see it at all with the side skirts on there. I double checked. I just wanted to make sure, and there's no reason to do more work on this build than it's worth, because I can only do what the owner wants me to do, and he's not going to want me to spend an extra 2-3 days pulling out a dent that doesn't even matter. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. So man, at the end of the day, I'm definitely feeling beat. I'm gonna go home and enjoy the rest of my weekend. Took Saturday to come up here. Sunday I'll just hang out. Hope you're hanging out too. Hope you had a good weekend or are having a good weekend. Like this video if you haven't liked it by now. What the heck are you doing? Comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.